Hi, I'm Greg McLaughlin of the Braided Foundation, and I'm here in El Salvador with my friend Salvador Castellanos, Chamba, who I have known for about 10 years. And Chamba is the president and founder of Fundación La Red, which is an organization that we at the Braided Cord Foundation are pleased to partner with in helping to transform this community of El Tunco here on the coast of El Salvador.
Thank you, Gregorio, and thank you for sharing this moment with us. Basically, as many Latin America countries, El Salvador has a story of being conquered at some point and develop a system of domination, someone who runs over the majority of the country. In the last 150 years, that became an oligarchy owning 95% of the country, but having 95% of poverty level in the country. In the 80s, that became a civil war, a 12 years civil war, 75,000 people died, another 50,000 people disappear, and the country, economy, socially, spiritually, was basically destroyed. Everything started changing a little bit, really slow since then, to the point where we are with a new government that thankfully is investing in people, in technology, opening the economy so we can have more investments coming to El Salvador, and specifically investing in surfing. Now we are known in the world as a surf destination, a world-class surf destination. So to be short in my description, I think El Salvador is at the starting point of a bridge. If we cross that bridge in the right manner, El Salvador will develop and flourish. The poverty level will change, and more people will have a more abundant life.
It's a very unique story to tell. As a man who was very successful in the city as a journalist, but you felt the call to come to the coast and involve yourself and your family in a new community. So maybe can you give a minute or two of your history and how you find yourself today here in this area of El Tunco?
I always said that I was a beach guy, a surfer, before being a journalist. So basically, I grew up in this area, and the reason was that my grandmother used to have a farm in this area, and my father, being an agronomical engineer, he was the one taking care of the property of his mom. So every weekend, Saturdays and Sundays, since I was 6 months old, we came to the farm, spend Saturday swimming in the river, riding horses, running in the cornfields, and being friends with the local kids, knowing the community. Then later on the Saturday, we always came to El Tunco, to a country club that still located here at El Tunco, and spend the night and the Sunday at the beach. Again, swimming in the ocean, playing with the local kids, and just loving this place, to the point that I one day said I wanna one day live here. I started surfing in 76, so I felt basically in love with the ocean culture, with everything that represents. At some point, I started growing up. I went to the university and have a degree in communications and journalism. And early in the 80s, when the Civil War started, I also started a career as a journalist. For 42 years to that point, to the last year, I was a war correspondent, an interviewer, a newscaster for local and international networks. But I never really lost the love. I mean, no matter what, I keep coming to the beach every weekend, surfing every holiday, and dreaming about living here one day. I got married at some point, started having kids, and the ocean, the call of the ocean never passed. And in 1990, that was the worst moment of the Civil War in El Salvador. I have a personal crisis. I was consuming a lot of drugs at that point. I was a very successful person, but was really destroyed. I was suffering a lot of post-traumatic stress. So I ended in a hospital. It was a personal crisis. And through that, my whole family started going to a church, and we became a Christian family. And from that moment, we start do something. And the natural place to do it was here, the beach that we love, the people that we know, and the necessities that we have us understand years before. So that's how we start here. Now, with my wife, we've been living here for 16 years now and doing ministry 20 years here in the beach, in the coastal communities of La Libertad. And that was how La Red started. And I think you will ask a little bit about La Red.
My next question for you has to do with that exact thing, which is Fundación La Red. And you mentioned a moment ago that in 1990, you had a transformation and your life changed from being focused on yourself to then being focused on others.
Exactly.
So how do you see the connection between Fundación La Red and that focus on others?
Well, it's I consider it like a family spiritual travel. My son Marcelo, in 2004, he was just 50 years old, and he was the national surf champ here in El Salvador, and he had a passion for God, for sharing Jesus, and he planted the Christian Surfers Ministry, and we as a family start helping him to run the ministry. And that situation allows us to see and know the real situation of the coastal communities of El Salvador. That contrast between the beautiful beach, surfers coming, nice hotels, but very, very impoverished communities. And one thing that happened is that to the Christian Surfers meetings came not only surfers, but kids and the moms of the kids. So at some point, we have this community coming to the Christian Surfers meetings. So at that point, it was clear for us that we needed to do something else beyond Christian Surfers. And everything started aligning at that point. A friend of ours helped us to buy this property in El Zunco. Then we built a wood rancho. Then we built restrooms, and suddenly we were having meetings with the community. And at some point, it was so clear that God basically told us, you have to do something, a church, a foundation, something. And we decided to start a church. And mostly for legal reasons, we decided to become a foundation. So legally speaking, we are a foundation, but at the heart, we are a ministry. And the ministry basically consists in loving God and serving the community. And that's what we've been doing for the last 20 years. And it has developed to a development model. And I think that one of the key aspects of that model is the holistic approach that we have. We basically work in three pillars. assistance is the first one, and we're talking feeding, health, and housing. I early learned from a friend that it's difficult to share the gospel with an empty stomach. So we're trying to alleviate the urgent needs of the communities we serve. The poverty here is still super high. The second pillar is education for life, for jobs, and for businesses, because we understand that education is key for a person to develop and bring to life the potentials they have. And lastly, but most important, is the restoration of the mind, the body, and the spirit of a person. And so we work in mental health, emotional health, sports and recreation, and fundamentally teaching and preaching and sharing and showing the universal values of Christianity, the gospel of Jesus. And the goal of all that is the people can reach the abundant life that Jesus offered for humanity.
You mentioned the abundant life and development. And that's one reason the Braided Cord Foundation loves partnering with La Red, because we can give someone in crisis food and that will take care of someone for a day or two. But that creates dependency. So my next question for you, Chamba, is how is La Red working to create independence where people are not relying upon any organization for handouts, but rather being prepared to take care of themselves in a holistic way?
Well, we understand and we truly believe that when a person is drawn in, the first thing that you have to do is save it. Grab his hand or his head, whatever, any part of the body, and take it out of a dangerous situation. That's assistance. People here are drowning. They're hungry. Their roofs are dripping. They're sick. So we're trying to do that. But once you have them at the shore, you start working on them in a different level. You teach them how to swim. So the next time they go to the pool or the ocean, they won't drown. So that's what we are doing. We are assisting the people, and then they enter a process that we call the bridge to success, where they receive restoration. I mean, how is your heart? How is your mind? How is your body? How is your spirit? What is your relation with God? And what do you know? Did you go to school? Do you want to learn English? Do you want to learn computer? Do you understand that if you know how to use a computer, speak a second language, that will give you better economical opportunities? So we have that process with the person, and then we invite them to be part of it. So they can join our academy, they can join our church, they can join our surf ministry or soccer tournaments or feeding program or housing program. And the whole, and we've seen that many times, is that when the person start crossing that bridge, when they go out at the other side, they are other person with a different heart, with a different mind, with skills that we allow them to reach the abundant life. That's how we see it. I see that as a beautiful and bright opportunity. It's not easy in this world of selfishness to find true friends, true brothers that share a vision with you, that have the heart to help others, to contribute with their skills, talents, and resources to improve the quality of life in the world. And we have found that in Braided Cord. So having a brotherhood, a friendship, and a strategic relation with you is, for us, is incredibly value. It's a value that goes beyond imagination. And for now, the hopes are huge. I mean, we have seen in you an organization and especially a group of people that have a beautiful heart and desire to help, that have great ideas, imagination, innovation. So we're stoked. To use a surfer term, we are stoked with this relation and with huge expectations of the outcome that will come from that.
Well, Tamba, as a friend, it is a pleasure to be able to work alongside you. As a member of the Braided Cord Foundation, we are honored to serve this community with your wisdom, input, experience, and knowledge. Thank you so much for your time, my friend, my brother.